Happy Tuesday. So excited that you are joining us for another amazing VIP variety show. And this one's going to be super fun because I feel like it's also timely, just in the sense that social video is really hot right now. And this gal is all things social video marketing. And so I think you'll not only learn obviously about her VIP day and whatnot, but also learn from her expertise and her structuring and her delivery and all that good stuff that you'll potentially want to invest in. As I know, us as a business, we are diving really deep into social video in a variety of ways. And so pretty much if you don't have a video marketing plan, you're gonna need one. So I'm super excited for this guest to be on today. You're gonna learn a lot. It's gonna be super fun, and I'm gonna bring her on up. So, Miss Mariangelica, let me get the right template here going. How are you?
Hi, how are you? Nice to see you, Jordan.
Yes, so glad to see you and have you be a part of the VIP Variety Show. It's a lot of reasons why I brought you on, but again, I think that a lot of folks, like we had talked about before we started, a lot of folks are doing one day things, I think is what you called it, and so how do you then take your one day thing and really polish, refine it, and make it super powerful? So before we get started, definitely want you to introduce yourself and share with the good folks what your expertise is, a little bit about you, all that fun stuff.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having me on. This is super exciting. The variety show feel and just the graphics around make me feel like I'm at like a circus event or something, like some really fancy schmancy thing, which is awesome. But we're both home.
Yeah.
My name is Mariangelica. I run a company called honesthustle.ca. So I am in Canada. So that's fun. I'm also a mom to 2 kids and then a third one joining us literally any day. So that's a thing that's happening as well down below the camera.
Yeah.
I essentially the main thing that I offer is I run a membership called the Honest Hustle Club for entrepreneurs who are wanting to grow their mindset, grow their belief in themselves, and then be able to actually execute strategy, because I truly do believe in that mindset first, strategy second approach. And I have been doing a ton of different offers, like to this day. Jordan's like, take offers off your website. So like I have, I started my business with a lot of offers, and naturally, as we all know, what happens in client land world, my calendar was getting really filled up. And like I said, I have 2 very small children. And so it ended up being that I could only work in the evenings, and all my evenings were completely eaten up by this business called Honest Hustle, which is truly what it became.
Yeah.
So so over time I started to try to think about how can I put things into smaller containers, and then I didn't call them VIP days, but I started working in like these one day sprints in a way. And it doesn't even mean that the client knew that I was working in a one day sprint, but we worked in a lot of our pre-work stuff, which I know we'll get into like the logistics of that stuff later, but we did all that stuff together. And then I kind of like set myself a day where I was like, okay, well, this is the day I'm going to do it. And that started to work super well for me. And I became more interested in this model because it was saving me a lot of time. And I am pretty efficient when I get down to like, that focused time. So that's how I started to transition into VIP day land. And then I found the Done in a Day program, and it kind of clicked in all the missing pieces and allowed me to really get super clear on how to create a killer offer that's actually going to deliver great results. And both the client and I know that it's happening in one day. So it's a great approach for both parties for sure.
Yeah. Awesome. And yes, so share with us all the things that you were doing and are still kind of transitioning out of. And then also how you landed on this first VIP day that you have refined and whatnot, and why you chose that one over everything else you were doing.
Yeah, so I offered so many things, and that's because I'm sure many, multi-passionate entrepreneurs can relate. We love to do all the things, and when you are good at many things, it feels kind of, we've had this conversation. It feels so hard to have to like pick the one thing that everybody tells you, just pick one thing and stick to it. So I was like, I'm going to get rid of that advice, and I'm just going to offer everything. So I trained as a graphic designer. I've worked in media. I've worked in advertising agencies and corporate world for a long time. So, marketing came really easily, and graphic design came really easily, and website creation came really easily. And then as I started to work through these, project kind of based things, I started to realize that my brain was actually doing things that I guess weren't, common. And I was thinking about more holistically about how to solve a problem rather than, I need a website because this is what my business needs. And more, it's like, but why do you need a website? And is that really the first step that you need to work on right now? And what's your messaging like? And who are you attracting and why? And so mindset and coaching started to become, and consultations became another kind of beginning of an offer. And, naturally, after a client has worked with you and loves working with you, they want you to be a part of their world for a while. So social media and the importance of social media, today in this day and age, has become obviously like a no-brainer for many business owners. And so naturally, after working on their brand, after creating their website, social media became kind of like the next, conversation. And I found that even in my membership, which is the club that I run, in there, I feel like the majority of people get stuck in the hamster wheel of content creation, and content creation, both on the, static post world and the video post world. Video gets a bad rep for being hard, and it takes a lot of effort and time. And, you often hear people re-record a video 20 times before they post it online, all of those things. And then on the other side, the content, right? The content, everybody's like, what do I post? And how often do I post? And we're so obsessed with this whole concept that we feel like we're being really good entrepreneurs, and we're working on our business by working on our social. And it's actually probably doing us more harm than good. So that's why I wanted to focus on social video and social content creation, because there are systematic approaches that you can take to it to remove so many hours. I have some good fun data points for you. I know you love data and you love numbers. And because I've worked with some clients now, I've been able to gauge, and basically by asking them questions how many hours we're really saving by doing a VIP day together. And it's bonkers. We spend so much time, right, doing this work. And so creating this offer became sort of a no-brainer, because it's what if we could just save you so much time? And it's not just the time, but also the intentionality behind what we're creating. Working backwards from goals feels much more aligned and strategic to me than working on let's just put stuff out there and see what people like and comment on, so.
Oh yes, that intentionality.
That's how I led to it.
Yeah, is big, because, people get this, especially with social media, this peer pressure, I guess, or social pressure of seeing everybody doing all these things and not knowing there's intention behind it sometimes. And so, if you're trying to build a recipe for a cake, are you just throwing whatever's in your pantry in there and seeing if it tastes good? No. You want to have a recipe. There's an order in which you don't bake the cake before you actually mix it. You don't put the plastic bowl of a mix in the oven. There's tools, there's all of these things that you have to think of. And especially when it comes to video, you do not want to be out here messing around, playing around, because your time is valuable as a business owner, and you cannot just be out here throwing whatever spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks. It's 2022. We can't be doing that. So I think that your realization around again, where people are at with social video marketing and content creation, and how valuable that is, and just how ridiculous it is with people and their tactics. I really think it's just so valuable. So when you decide, okay, this is the VIP day that I'm going to do, obviously you had been doing this one day thing previously. And so did you know where you needed support as far as what was not working for your VIP day, or what was it about your one day things that wasn't working that you knew that then you wanted our support with?
Yeah, so I love that we're calling them one day things because that's legitimately what I called them before. I was like, this
Run
is
it
a
with it.
one day thing, right? Yeah. Specifically for this VIP day, I never used to do it all in one day with the client. I
Right.
used to gather a lot of information, which I now know is called pre-work, that we're gathering, but there was never like a proper system approach for it. I had templates, yes, and I would email certain things, but it did make the client have to like open a Google Doc here and then open this here or
Mhm.
send this back to me over email, or hey, if you have brand photos, can you like just email them over or put them on this Google Drive folder? So there was kind of like a broken chain of like where all these different things were, and I was spending a lot of time gathering all the supplies almost to build the plan
Yeah.
from the client. So there was a lot of back and forth, tons of emails back and forth, tons of like quick calls here and there to just be like, oh, hey, but yeah, this one thing, can you just clarify this? So
Mm,
definitely, I didn't know how important that pre-work creation model was. And it's funny because it's not even something that we're doing on the VIP day. It's something I didn't even know I needed that came way before. And
mm,
that has brought in so much clarity and like ease to the way that I know I'm going to be able to deliver these VIP days, because I am now so much clearer on like what I need to be able to create and be able to give that transformation that I'm really selling, right?
yep.
So I think the pre-work was one of the biggest things. And I think the second thing for me was sometimes the clients didn't know that it all happened in one day. It was more on my end that I was like
Yeah.
scheduling myself in my own calendar. Hey, this is when I'm going to do the work. It's going to take me about this long, so I'm going to do it in
Yeah.
one day. But for the client, they weren't aware. So for them, it still felt like a longer process because they're giving me all the
Mm,
information. Then I set my date when I'm going to work on it. Then we meet
yeah.
after the fact, which usually on a different day, to talk things through. But
Got
I realized, I will say, and this might be something that other people consider too, is thinking, but if it's done in one day, can it really be high priced? Like
it.
it's
Yeah.
only one day, right? And so I felt like almost like I had to not hide, but just the clients didn't need to know that I did it in one day. Because if I did it in one day, like, would they still think that it was good? Would they still think that it was valuable? Would they still find like, oh, that I got my money's worth, right? So that combative like part of my mindset was coming out to play when it was like, yeah, announce it that is it in one day. Tell the clients is in one day. So that's a thing that I think many of us struggle with when it comes to pricing, when it comes to how we want to be seen, right? As like experts take their time. Like, we like have a whole journey together and we have this whole experience.
Mhm.
And I'm trying to really understand now and really see that my clients really do value speed. They value, excellence in the work that we do together. They value the transformation. And a lot of people just can't believe that it can be done in one day. So I'm just trying to, and becoming more aware of that. And I think that's something also that maybe isn't super, it's not a measurable thing, but it's something that has really come from this experience, that it's like, oh, there was definitely some things there that made me not want to say that it was done in a day, when it is.
Yeah, which is so interesting. And, when it comes to, but we all have it. And it's, kind of the employee mindset of like, the more hours I work, the more I get paid.
Yeah.
And that, is ingrained in us. I'm not
Yeah.
going to go down. I feel like every, every one of these interviews, I don't want to go down like the patriarchy capitalistic conversation. But, it really is ingrained in a lot of the way our world is built. And it can keep us really stuck and feeling like we have to just work, 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 work until, we leave this earth. And I don't, I'm a workaholic, but I also enjoy my rest. And, it's taken me a while to get to that point, but I think it's really important and crucial that people are hearing what you're saying when it comes to like, don't hide the fact that it's done in a day.
Yeah.
Like that is actually gold. Like your clients will
Mhm.
actually be more attracted to you. And because you think about, even when you hear somebody speak for an hour versus working with them long term or something, like you can get so much transformation from one sentence from
Yeah.
somebody's talk, or one sentence in a book that you read, or like in the simplest little moments. And we don't think about how transformation can actually happen very quickly and with not a lot,
Yeah.
when it comes to that stuff. So, and talk to me about the process of, really defining what you again, we're going to be delivering like the tangible and intangible results. And as a multi-passionate, did you feel the pull to kind of
Put everything in
overstuff, put everything in?
Everything in the VIP day? Yeah, definitely. Who doesn't feel that? When you're told to pick one thing, you're just like, then I'll put all the things in it. Yeah, so definitely, video is a love form for me. I love video in many capacities. And in many of my other offers, I've helped clients create their actual signature offer. So whether it's their online course or their online program, and there's a difference there in the level of production value required for that type of video, and the creation of social video that is supposed to be quick hits. It's supposed to be let's get it going, let's get the message right out there. But there's a difference in that. And I think a big part of my, like, the professional in me, the professional videographer in me, right, struggled with the blend of like, how do I offer this type of quality in a day where, if we're doing a virtual, I'm not there with you. So there's a lot more coaching involved, there's a lot more editing involved. There's a lot more of me depending on you to be able to take that video yourself. And if we are doing it in person, because I do offer them in person as well, how do I then also not over make it into this production that then the client feels like they can never do this on their own. So that was kind of my biggest debate in trying to figure out, like, how far do I push the professionalism of the video production quality to not scare off someone to think, oh, well, I need these lights and I need this camera, and this is the only way that I can ever do video and social. And even for myself, be able to push it to be like, no, you just need your phone. So that's what we're going to use, And so that's a big leap from going from an offer that I have of going and filming with my lighting and my audio equipment and all the things, a client, to then being like, you know what, I'm going to be okay with just showing them how to use their phone, because I want them to be able to, like, this is a part of their process now. This is a part of you showing up online, and you just use your phone. So figuring out, I think, more like the level that I wanted my VIP day to be was one of the things. And the other piece too was just trying to figure out how much can someone really digest in a day. For some of us, we're very like, we're quick, we're go-getters, we're like, let's just get it all done. I'm down to do it, I'll learn it. We feel like we can do a lot in that day. And then I have to really just like ask my clients, talk to my clients, and and in that process found, it would be more overwhelming if I tried to put everything in one day, which is why for my day, there's two very clear sections. There is a section on content, on the strategy, on the intentionality approach. One of the first parts of my framework is on clarity, and it's on breaking down the clear approach to what goals you want to hit. And how do we break them down to like be a more measurable approach so that the content we create leads directly to those goals? That piece is super important. And then after we've done that work, that's when then the video piece becomes way more intentional, because now we're not just like dancing around to a reel. We're like actually adding value towards whatever the goal is, which is grow your membership or get more sales calls or whatever it's going to be, right? So I love the concept of trying to figure out, like, what does my ideal client need to believe about themselves to be able to work with me? And how does my content fill that gap, between I'm over here, I want this, transformation, and you're over here being like, I got it, I can give it to you. But like that bridge is your content. So how do we make sure that bridge is super crystal clear so that they feel super seen? So those are the elements that I really wanted to bring into the day. And we were talking a lot about like, like hours and how long the day takes.
Yeah.
So here's like my fun numbers for you, because I went back and I looked at some of the surveys that I had done, some of my pre-work is what I would call it now, that I had people do. And a lot of my clients, I asked them how often they spend currently on their social media strategy. So how much time are you spending already, whether it's selecting pictures, writing captions, like posting things online, thinking about what you're going to post about, all of the things. And I have two numbers. So for the clients that don't use video, that are just doing static posts or just carousels or things like that, they spend about 20 hours a month. But for the clients that are trying to get into reels or trying to like do a little bit of video here and there because they know it's important, but like they're just trying their best, it's about 36 hours a month that they're spending on their social strategy, which blew my mind because like corporate land, that's like a full 1 week's worth of like 40 hours. It's almost 40 hours a week, right? So It was insanity. And so then obviously, then I got my handy calculator and I was like, but what does that mean? And it means, so I have the number in front of me because I didn't want to get the math wrong, because I don't do math live. It's
Hey.
432 hours a year is what
Oh
these
gosh.
clients spend at the end of the year on their social strategy, like on all of their social stuff. And the thing is, it's not even like we're talking intentional strategy. This is like me just trying to figure out what to post online and like trying to make a reel like here and there and like all of that work. That's what my clients were doing. So when it came to creating an 8-hour VIP day, I was like, okay, so what can I deliver? At the end of the 8 hours, the plan that we put in place allows you to have a 4-hour plan that you can implement once a month, or you can kind of push it and do your own full day that you can do once a quarter. Now, like in terms of savings of hours, it's an insanity of numbers. And that's what really allowed me to be able to feel really, like sit really confidently in my pricing of my VIP day. Because when I'm telling you that at the end of the year, you're going to save, again, looking at my math that I did ahead of time, 384 hours of your year, like, I mean, I don't even know what your hourly rate is, but it's just break that down into numbers. And I could charge double for my VIP day and it would still be an incredible tool for you to now have long-term to be able to use in your business. And it would still work and it would still be a profitable investment. So when you think about, your goals that way and how as an entrepreneur, we're like, oh, but that's like a big investment. It's because, the CEO is really thinking about long-term and thinking about, but at the end of the year, I could create a whole new like crazy offer that's going to make me $1 million in that time, rather than like figuring out what to post on social and like get up behind the latest real trend, right? So it's cool when you have the numbers to back you up, for sure.
Absolutely. So share with us, again, you spoke to obviously kind of how much time these people have. Talk to us about who your VIP days are for. Are they solopreneurs? Are they people who have small teams? What are the offers that they're selling, or is it B2C? Like share with us like who your VIP days are for and targeting.
Yeah. So because of the membership that I run, I work with so many different types of entrepreneurs. So it really, you could be having an online program. You could have like a brick and mortar. I have people that have their own like physical like gym studios. I have people that are, like online coaches. It really, the strategy works the same no matter what you are, because it is so personalized to you in the day. But at the end of the day, these people have one thing in common. It's that they understand that social is important. It stresses them out. It's taking a lot of their time and mental energy, because even when we're not posting on social, we're stressed about having to post on social. And that is a drain on our energy. That is a drain on your time. That is a drain on your creativity. We are like scrolling social and looking at people. And now we're like, oh my gosh, I should post more reels. Or, oh my gosh, that person has it all together. And I don't even know what the heck I'm going to post tomorrow. Like, so I'm not even accounting for the time that we're spending thinking those thoughts. And that person that I'm supporting, that ideal client of mine, struggles with those thoughts constantly. They're constantly on social wishing that they had a better system. They know that they're trying their best, but they feel like they're not, seeing their results. And that's because, again, they're just trying their very best. They're trying to like download some freebie online that tells them to post this kind of content. They're trying to follow this trend that says that they have to like point and dance around like a fireplace and that's going to bring you more views and followers. Like, so they're struggling with a lot of, the mental game around social is really hard for them right now. Now, in terms of who they are, usually they've been in business for a little while. So whether 2 to 6 years or so, they know who they're talking to. They know what their offers are for and who they're for, but they might not yet have a clear idea on how they're going to like reach those numbers that they want to hit at the end of the year. So that clarity piece in the framework, breaking down those numbers into like a realistic goal you could go after, it's a big part of what I help my clients with. So in general, I find that my ideal client is a mindset. It's a mindset of someone who like is wanting to get really crystal clear on social, feels super overwhelmed by the idea of having to create one single video on the internet. And for the most part, they either are solopreneurs or they have an assistant or a VA, or they have like one person that they work with. Because the thing is, after we work together, the systemized approach and the plan that we create at the end, you can do with your team member, you can do with your VA, you can do with your team long term and continue to gain value from what you learned during that day so that you can continue the systematic approach of creating content in a way that makes sense. So for the most part, they'll have one or so people helping them out, but a solopreneur could totally do this, because at the end of the day, we are cutting your hours back by a ton. So whether you have a client do it with their team or you're doing it on your own, the savings in hours is still significant.
Oh yeah, I heard so many of my own inner thoughts come out of your mouth. Like, I'm having to dance around what now and who and goodness gracious. And then I think too that like people forget that like it can be fun. And like I never was somebody who like thought social media was fun. Like it never was. It was just like a part of it. But now like reels are like a stress reliever for me, and it's interesting because I never would have thought that. But they can be super fun and engaging, and like social media, we forget, like is social. Like it's an opportunity to talk back with the people that you want to talk with. And again, if you're passionate about your business or what you're helping people with, why wouldn't you want to talk more about it? And why wouldn't you want to expand the opportunity to get in front of more people?
Exactly.
So I love everything you're saying.
And also, like when you are creating content and when you are stressing out about what to post and when you are writing the caption, you aren't connecting.
Totally.
You're not DMing back. You're not like commenting on somebody else's stuff. You're stressed about your own stuff. So it removes the social piece, and it just adds like another task that our business has to do. And a lot of these business owners spend so much more time on it, on their content strategy rather than on the connection piece and on building those relationships. So it's about how much time can we open up so that you do have time to like, comment on somebody else's stuff or DM with someone or generate a question sticker and then get on voice notes with people. Like I'm all about that, like one-on-one connection. And, there's this, I don't know if it's an official term, but it's called like unscalable marketing strategies, right? And it's when we start and we're small and we feel like, oh, we don't really have a big following. Like, how can we maximize your time on social so that you do actually end up creating really deep connections with the people that are there? And you don't have time to do that if you're trying to figure out what to post and writing a caption, because all your mental energy has time for is like, I put something out on Instagram, and so then I need to now go have a cocktail because like that was a lot of work, right? So like we have to celebrate those things rather than like, I connected with 5 people over voice note today and I feel like way closer to my audience now. So those are the things we're building time for as well. Aside from obviously, in my life, like not having to work in the evenings as much and not having to stress about what things I'm going to put on the internet. And I am in the process of ramping down as I go into like a maternity, period of time in my life. But it's also, how do you allow yourself that time and be able to then come back knowing that like, I know exactly where to pick up from. I know exactly what I'm going to do on day one when I get back. And this is how I'm going to approach my social strategy. And I'm not stressed about social media anymore. So yeah, it can be a much more fun and engaging place. It can not, drain our mental energy. It can give us like a little bit of a boost, and we can meet some really awesome people on there too.
Yeah, exactly. So what are some of the other intangible results that your clients get from your VIP day that maybe they weren't even thinking about, but then they saw as like a really great result?
Yeah. So one of the biggest things that I find, especially with the clients that I've already done this work with, is that they feel a lot lighter and they didn't realize that they felt heavy before. Like a lot of them feel like they have like mental creativity and capacity to think about how to improve their current offers or be able to create a whole new offer in their business because they feel like they have capacity. And capacity is like a thing that they couldn't really like verbalize before. They just kept saying like, oh, I got to work on my social and I got to figure out my stuff. And they knew about the tangible stuff. They knew that they needed to post and they needed to do this, but they didn't realize that it was like how much of their actual creativity and brain power is being used up by this activity or this task that they had no clue about. One of the other intangible things, obviously, that people gain from this is like their mental game around social changes completely, and therefore their mindset and their mood improves, because often when we're on social and we feel like we're not doing the best that we can in our business, right, we like start to put ourselves down a lot. So putting themselves in a position where they're like, oh, I feel really good. Like I have a plan in place. Like it doesn't matter what everybody else is doing. I trust my plan. I trust that it's exactly what needs to happen for my audience. I know that they need to listen to these particular things to be able to work with me.
Yeah.
That gives them so much more power to really believe in what they're saying. And like I said at the beginning, you know, I really believe in a mindset first approach. So it doesn't matter that you're going to hire me to do strategy work. If I don't include mindset work in the day together that we do together,
Yep.
you know, you're not even going to believe that you're going to hit the numbers you need to hit at the end.
Yep.
It doesn't matter how much stuff you're putting out there if you don't have that belief. So a lot of clarity of mind, a lot of like, you know, positive emotions and moods, a lot of things that they didn't, you know, it took them a bit of time to realize, oh, I think this is because my social game is like so strong now. And now I don't even have to like worry about it. And I feel so much lighter. And I feel like I don't even like stress about social in it. It doesn't feel as like damaging when I open Instagram to my mental health, you know?
Oh my gosh, I know.
So there's a lot more there to unpack for themselves as well. But those are the things that are starting to come back from clients, especially, you know, a couple of months down the line when they've had some time to sit with the strategy.
Yep.
And it's becoming a little bit more of like, oh, this is my new normal. Like, I don't have to stress about this anymore.
Yeah, totally. Something too that we see in a lot of folks with VIP days is you have strategy, but you also have, if they want to add in execution, you have the opportunity. A lot of people who are execution, implementer, doers struggle then if they want to do just strategy, getting paid well for that. Did you have that same mentality? If not, like, what would you share that helped you charge confidently about just the strategy piece?
Yeah, so I did struggle with it. I struggled with it hard, especially because a lot of my offers before VIP days had a tangible thing that I would give them at the end, right? I had a website I could give you. I had a new logo I could give you. I had, you know, if I was doing, I have also some team members that handle the social media marketing of other clients who don't care to do the execution piece. So, you know, then here's your posts that are ready to go. Like, so there is all these things that I could give back at the end. At the end of this VIP day, you know, there are tangible pieces in terms of a plan, in terms of, you know, the things that you are going to walk away with knowing. There is like many documents and things that kind of, you know, systematize the whole day together so that you can do this again on your own in the future. But again, I'm not providing you the final files of your video, you know, production thing. And so in that space, it became really hard to figure out how to feel confident and what to charge. So I used the model of really the value approach model, not the hour approach model, right? Because that was never going to work out for me if I was doing a VIP day to charge hourly. So what I ended up doing was just really realizing what are the things that I offer already in my business. And that helped me because already there was some higher level ticket items there for doing video work and things like that, or doing consultations with me or things like that. But what really helped me was to really dig into the numbers of like, how much am I really changing somebody's life? How many hours am I giving them back in their day? When I did that math, 8,000 almost felt cheap. So that is where, you know, that is where it really came down to it. I think I had a mindset call with you specifically, and we talked about this, and you were like, do you realize people are charging like way more than you already for this? And I'm like, no, I guess I know because I'm not looking. I wasn't out there being like, how much are they charging? Like, you know, and so even, you know, hearing stories of people that are charging like triple, 4 times, 10 times what I was charging or am charging for the VIP day makes me feel a lot more confident in obviously knowing like, you know what, I can just stand behind the numbers I know. And I know that my clients on average spend 36 hours a month, but after working with me, they only spend 4. That's enough for me to know I'm saving you a ton of time. And that is a ton of money because time is money as an entrepreneur. We don't have a lot of it and we have to do so many things. So it made it feel more, I rationalized myself into the belief by doing my own kind of, you know, research and data hunting and talking to my clients and asking questions like, well, how much time is it taking you? And what would you do at the time if you weren't? Oh, well, you know, I might create like a back end offer for my program. And it's like, great. How much money could that generate you? Like a ton. So that's where the number became much easier for me to be able to say out loud confidently. And, you know, pricing and mindset are very well tied together. So there's a lot of mindset work too, you know, reading mindset books, leveling up my mindset in other ways as well, being able to journal about mindset. Those things obviously helped me become much more confident. But at the end of the day, it's just trusting that the transformation you're going to deliver is, you know, is priceless, really, at the end of the day, for how often it can be repeated. Because the thing is, like, this is something that can last you for the rest of your entrepreneurial journey, and how to break down goals and how to actually deliver content. And I've had people that have actually turned this model. So we work together specifically in content strategy, but they've gotten so much value that they've actually decided, now that I know my pillars, now that I know my themes, now that I truly understand the pain points and transformation for my clients, I'm going to take this and create a podcast, and I'm going to take this and now create like a video YouTube series. And my content is going to be directly focused around the things we planned out. So it works both ways. You can either, create your big content piece and break it down into social bits, or you can create the social bits and be like, actually, this is all around this theme. And now they've gone ahead and created a podcast, or they've gone ahead and created a video series, which is like really exciting for me, to see them like building into. But months down the line, you can start to see kind of how these things develop. And I'm excited to see it in the future as well, as I work with more people.
Yeah, for sure. So walk us through your framework, which is pretty core to what we do in Done in a Day, and whatnot. So walk us through, you talked about clarity is the first piece. Kind of just share with us kind of the I guess, how the day transpires and what it is that you accomplish together.
Yeah, definitely. And the framework, I have to say, I mean, it became more crystal clear. That's also something I didn't have before Done in a Day, and the program was a very, kind of laser tailored approach to my framework. I knew the elements I was working people through, but being able to work, with the coaches inside Done in a Day and be able to really nail down like what is my true framework has been really has given me a lot of confidence too, and being able to speak to what it is that I offer. Because before, when you're the expert, you kind of know what's happening in your brain, but not being able to verbalize it to your client is hard. So yes, clarity is the very first one. That's when we talk about, breaking down those like goals into manageable or like measurable pieces, so that we are always working from a goal first approach of like, what do you want to increase in your business, whether it's revenue, email subscribers, et cetera, et cetera. So what is that first, thing? Really nailing down the vision, the mission of your business, the messaging, the values that you stand for, so that we have everything kind of like all the pieces and all the formula for what your business is all about right off the bat. And we're never striving away from it. We can always go back and check that out. Then we collaborate. So that's when we work together. That's the next part of the framework. And this is a fun one because there's a lot of collaboration that happens back and forth with the client. I'm on the call with the client the entire time. Or if we're in person together the entire time. And in this piece, we get super clear on who the target audience is. This is the piece that actually needs a lot more of that pre-work for it to be really, transformational. But in this time, we get to really know who this person is. We get their pain points, their transformation, all of the things that actually make them, kind of click. What are the things that they say? What is their internal dialogue like? All of the things that have to do with them. And we get super crystal clear on that. And we collaborate together to come up with this like model of who this person is. That's where the themes kind of start to come up. That's where we start to see trends. That's where we start to see like, oh, a lot of them struggle with this or that. So that's where we piece all those things together. Then it's construct, which is, it feels like we're putting a puzzle together. And I know you love puzzling, but you take all these little bits that you've gathered, right? You take your values, you take your goals, you take the things that they tell themselves like only in their head, and you put it together to create themes around content that's going to make them feel seen, make them feel and say things like, wow, like this person totally gets me. They're speaking my language, but also gets them to take the action of that you want them to take, whether it's to sign up for the call, whether it's to sign up for your email list. How do we get that to happen from, oh, I feel seen, to sign up for this call, right? So that's where we construct these little elements to make it like a very strategic approach to how they're going to get there. Then we capture. So this is the video piece. This is when we do video coaching. This is when we talk about video ideas, reels, all of us short form video. This is where we talk about like potentially video series that you could do, all of the different aspects that we're now taking from your values, from your goals, from who the pain point is, from the things that we've already constructed, and how are we going to now turn it into a video strategy. Super, super fun for this round. And if we're in person, then it's fun for me too, because I get to be there and help you actually film the stuff, with you. On your phone, because, making it super easy for clients to do afterwards. And then it's to continue. So that's where we do the consistency and the systematic approach at the end, where you get like a plan and you get an actual, breakdown of your very personalized approach to how are you going to now do these 4 hours that I'm telling you now you can minimize your work into per month.
Yeah.
And again, some clients will actually do this work per quarter, and then they'll just like pile it all, and they'll make their own essentially VIP day in their company with their, VAs or with their assistants, and they'll essentially do this work for 3 months at a time. But yeah, that's at the end where we end with like making sure we're all super crystal clear on like, here is your point form checklist of these are the things that I do every month to prepare myself for the month ahead. And that's it. At the end of the day, you end up with like an entire, like because we break down the year completely, right? We break down the year together. So you have everything you need to continue on every single month and tackle your social strategy. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, totally. And I love the collaborativeness of it, because I think too, the hard part can be like sitting there and being like, at least I can speak for myself, when I'm like scrolling, trying to get inspired, whatever else. And like sometimes it hits, and then sometimes it's like, cool, like 30 people watch my reel. Awesome. But, and the collaborativeness is super helpful to get the momentum going, because then once you get the momentum going, then you can kind of keep that up yourself, I found. But it's just like that first nudge, getting that support in the right direction is really, really big. So I'm going to ask a wrap-up question of, previous to Done in a Day, and again, previous to kind of knowing what VIP days are, what would you tell yourself about like what's possible with VIP days? And again, potentially to other people who are, again, potentially learning about VIP days here for the first time, as we're talking, what would you say to them about what you wish you would have known previously about the magic of VIP days?
Yeah, I think one of the main things I would tell myself or tell anyone who's like genuinely a little bit curious about this VIP day model is that as much as you feel potentially some resistance around figuring out how to do things in one day, or approaching being able to sell something that you do in only one day, because we are still, especially for many entrepreneurs that are doing this as a side hustle at the beginning, right? Who are just like wanting to grow into it and are still in the corporate world. You never want to like let your boss know you're done quickly, right? So I think this approach, there's a lot of stuff that we have to change in our mindset, but I think I would tell myself to just jump for it a little bit earlier than I did. I think I was hiding away the fact that I could work this well, this fast. And I think that's a disservice we're doing to ourselves in our businesses and in our lives, because we are almost purposely trying to extend our projects to make it seem like we know more than we do. Like it's a weird concept and a weird model that is old school. And I love that Done in a Day is becoming a little bit more well-known for actually being able to actually, you can work way less days in the month and make likely a lot more money and have way more time in my life to, be with my family, play with my kids, and not have the stress of like, oh, I have that client call, or I have that meeting with that client that night, or I have to do this thing for that client. Like, clients are not in my head bouncing around anymore because I have dates in my mind. This is when the next VIP day is. That's when I'm going to focus all my energy on this one individual, support them obviously for some time after. But at the end of the day, like, it's more of a mindset approach around really feeling more free. So as much as, we love that we're creating our own businesses and entrepreneurs, for all entrepreneurs that are like on the fence, we sometimes tend to create other 9-to-5 jobs. And so to try to get away from that, implementing any type of VIP day model structure as early as possible is going to help you build things in the right way, so that then you're not doing what I did and build a ton of offers, hustle yourself out to burnout multiple times, and then have to like backtrack and be like, actually, I'm going to take this away. Actually, I'm going to take this away, and I'm going to do this one thing over here. So I would have started a lot earlier with VIP days, because they work. They just work. And your income can actually be increasingly higher, which is not a concept we're used to. I think a lot of us love the quote of like, work less, make more, but we don't really know how to do that. This is how you do that.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Like, I think too, because I would get really frustrated, similarly to you, about like, I'm getting punished for being efficient.
Yeah.
And I'm having to extend projects because I need a certain amount of income. And that just didn't feel good and didn't sit well. And so, so you said it very eloquently, because I think that's what a lot of very efficient people in their own expertise feel when it comes to retainers or longer projects. So I love that you touched on that. So, and I think, Jen was asking quickly if you want to run down your framework and whatnot. So just again, kind of your clarity, construct.
Sure, yeah. So it's clarity, collaborate, construct, capture, and continue. Because the continue is that continue on your own, continue with your team, continue, developing this further on your own, and do it on your own at the end of the day, which is exciting. And all C's, because Done in a Day loves doing this to us, and we just like find a way to do it and we figure it out. But my words have changed many times, and they might change in the future too, but that's what I do. That's what I'm calling them right now.
Yeah, for sure. Yes, we love. Well, it's a lot easier to remember. It's one of those things, and whatnot, and to know that they're all C's. Yeah, I'm sure you have noticed, Jen. Everyone's got all A's or all E's or all C's or whatever the case is. So, but thank you so much, Mariangelica, for being on and sharing literally just all of your goodness about your VIPA, about your expertise, about the combo pack of both. I think it's helped a lot of folks, and will continue to as this video will live on. And again, just want to shout out, if you are interested in learning more about Done in a Day, definitely comment apply below. Our team keeps track and whatnot, and we'll come and ping you and let you know more information about our program and about VIP days and how we can support you with your business to create a VIP day that's super lovely and powerful. So thanks so much, Mariangelica, and I will see you guys all next week.